I'll be right back.
Okay. Oh, Millie's not even here. I guess we're not.
Mary Ann? That ain't you.
There you go.
Nolan. Share hubby and I.
She sees us there.
Oh, stop,
Why?
because it's a meeting.
But the meeting's not, you're up to get into the meeting now. You see, I sent you the agenda. It's not going to be till like 4:08.
Let's just hear them.
I don't need to hear.
I'll give you a
no.
minute. Let me know. Town of New Shoreham Town Council meeting from Monday, December 5th, 2022 at 7 PM. If anybody needs to see any of the supporting documents for this agenda, they are on our New Shore, Rhode Island clerk base page. I'd like to announce, as you know, before every meeting, that if anybody wishing to speak from the audience will be asked to rise and use the central microphone to ensure audio for those watching from home. Item number 1 on this agenda is to approve minutes for November 3rd, 2022, November 10th, 2022, November 14th, 2022, November 16th, 2022, open and closed, November 21st, 2022, open and closed, November 22nd, 2022, November 29th, 2022, November 30th, 2022, open and closed. I will note if any of the counselors have any issues with any of these meetings that were taken in closed session, we will have to go into closed session to amend those. Does any counselor have any questions, comments on any of these minutes? Otherwise, I would do them as make a motion to approve them as a lot.
I do have one, and really it's on open on November 30th, but also a few of the other ones. I just want to make sure that in the attendees are present, that the council, at that time it was, I think, Mr. LaPlante and his assistant are just on there as attendees or presenters. So that was both closed and open on the 30th, but I think that's not really the content. It was just more presented.
An amendment. No. You want to add these folks?
I think they need to be because they were there, so. No, this is different. This is number 1. Thank you. Yeah, I just want to make sure. Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome.
Wasn't that great?
I'll make a motion to approve those minutes from November 3rd, 2022, November 10th, 2022, November 14th, 2022, November 16th, 2022, open and closed, November 21st, 2022, open and closed, November 22nd, 2022, November 29th, 2022, November 30th, 2022, open and closed.
Second.
Seconded by Sven. Any comments, discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, Keith? Martha?
Aye.
I am in favor. Sven?
Aye.
Motion will carry 4 to, with Mark being absent. Item number 2 on the agenda is to open closed session minutes from March 8th, 2017, April 5th, 2017, August 3rd, 2017, August 9th, 2017, August 16th, 2017, August 24th, 2017, September 6th, 2017, October 8th, 2017, October 30th, 2017, November 1st, 2017, November 3rd, 2017, November 6th, 2017, July 17th, 2019, September 18th, 2019, October 21st, 2019, and November 20th, 2019. Is there any counselors that have any questions or comments on these minutes?
Yeah, there are two, if I can,
Go
there are
ahead.
2, the September, I know this sounds crazy so many years ago, but anyway, the September 18th, 2019, and the November 20th, 2019, talk about negotiations that are still ongoing. And I would rather keep those closed for a little bit. I mean, we can do it probably within the next year. So I had asked that they stay closed.
These are what dates?
9/18/2019 and 11/20/2019.
And that's 2.
There are 2 of them. 09/18/19.
I'm fine with the second warden's request if anybody's has any comments.
All the rest are done.
It's 2 more that I don't have to read in the motion.
There you go.
I will make a motion to approve the minutes of March 8th.
Opening them.
Motion to approve the closed session. Approve, okay,
Opening
yep, okay, sorry. Mary, I just made the same mistake you did. I will make a motion to open the closed session minutes from March 8th, 2017, April 5th, 2017, August 3rd, 2017, August 9th, 2017, August 16th, 2017, August 24th, 2017, September 6th, 2017, October 18th, 2017, October 30th, 2017, November 1st, 2017, November 3rd, 2017, November 6th, 2017. I'm going to remove September 18th.
For November 7th, right? Or July 17th, 2018?
Is it the one you wanted to remove?
No.
Yeah, July 17th, 2019.
We're gonna open it.
We're going to omit September 18th, 2019. Right?
You're gonna open October. 21st.
Open October 21st, 2019, and November 20th, 2019.
Not open.
Yeah, we're opening all these that I'm reading.
You're not gonna open November 20th, 2019.
I'll amend my motion.
Thank you. I'll second that motion.
Motion has been made. All, any comments or questions from the council? Okay. All those in favor, Sven?
Right.
And I'm in favor. Martha? And Keith. Motion will carry. Martha, I was reading those 2017 minutes meetings and we were somehow, for some reason, we were in the community center. A lot of those. Usurping the space. At any rate. Item number 3 on the agenda. Item number 3 on the agenda is to swear in a new town council. Millie? I guess you take over that? Mark and I would leave and.
Oh, I did. I wasn't sure on the timing. I'm sorry Mark isn't here, but I'll say something about him as well. But I just wanted to thank you, Andre. You, I think what are you laughing at? You shouldn't be embarrassed because you did the town proud. I think your passion is something that I've learned from over the last couple of years. Your commitment, not just to the town that we see in the summer, but more importantly to the residents who live here and to the working people who live here. And I just have really learned a lot from you and enjoyed serving with you. And I just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you so much for those kind words.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. I know you're all going to do well. I see some eager faces out there ready to be sworn in. And I'm sorry Mark's not here with us. Huh? Eager faces.
Yes.
So
Thank you, Andre.
I'm clean out of jokes, so I think I should exit.
Thanks, Andre.
I think I should exit.
can
the
reuse
table
them.
and-
Thank you
You're
very
welcome.
much.
Thank you. And that's that. So I will.
Thank you for getting us through, helping getting us through the COVID hell
Well,
as much as we can say it's over, but it hasn't been an easy couple of years to navigate.
no, it certainly hasn't. I appreciate that. So Millie, no further.
Keith, why don't you come forward? We'll start. Okay, that's fine. When you're ready. Of course you will.
Right.
All right. Keith, would you please raise your right hands? Do you, Keith Stover, solemnly swear that you will, or affirm that you will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of the office of the first warden according to the best of your abilities, and that you'll support the charter granted to New Shoreham in 1672, the home rule charter of the town, the Constitution and laws of the state, and the Constitution of the United States?
I will.
Very good. Thank you. Sven, you're next. You, Sven Rizzo, solemnly swear or affirm that you will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of the office of second warden according to the best of your abilities, and will support the charter granted to the town of Shoreham in 1672, Murphy and Martha Ball solemnly swear or affirm that you will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of the office of town council member according to the best of your abilities, and that you will support the charter granted to New Shore in 1672, the home rule charter of the town, the Constitution and laws of the state, and the Constitution of the United States.
I know on the front. All right. Thank you, Billy. Does this work? Does this work?
Slide up.
Before we start, I promise I won't do this all the time. Yes. Promise I won't do this all the time, but it's a special night, and I first of all just want to thank my wife Susan, who was kind enough not to hit me in the head with a baseball bat when I was going to run
She'll
for
learn.
town council. She'll learn. She bought a bat. Yeah, right. Exactly. But I just am so pleased. I'm sorry Molly's not here, but I'm so pleased to be serving with all you guys. I think it's a really terrific mix of the experience of Martha and Sven with the new with Molly and Neil. And I'm very optimistic, and I know from the last 2 years with Martha and Sven, and from the extraordinary work in the community that Neil does and that Molly does, that it's first and foremost a very hardworking group. And we have a lot of work to do. I'll get to that, but we have an incredible community, and every day I'm sort of reminded how lucky I am to live here, in big ways and small. You look at, as I said earlier, sort of some of the stuff that Neil has done at Old Town and with the community, the stuff that Molly does every day. Those are, great examples, but literally everyone who's here, from having served on this board or served on Broadband Ray or on planning, Mary, Margie, it really is extraordinary how this community pulls together in big ways and small. And I really do feel lucky, but I will say that luck isn't going to do it right now. We have a lot of challenges in front of us, whether it's housing or senior citizen issues or the budget or, crowding, traffic. There are a lot of issues. It took us a while to get here. It's going to take us a while to get where we want to be. But you should know that this group intends, I know, to work in good faith to move the community forward. The last thing I want to say is the world is changing a lot right in front of us, and unless we as a community develop a consensus around what we want the community to be, and pursue that relentlessly, the world will change right before our eyes without our having ever done anything. So there's been some work done on an approach to a sort of developing that community consensus that we'll have on an agenda soon. But know that we understand that there are big issues, that we have every intention of tackling them, and we have every intention of tackling them with a comprehensive community consensus around what we want to be when we grow up, in essence. Thank you. With that, a couple of housekeeping things. I hope you like the room. If you don't like the room, it was Millie's idea. But I actually really like it. Another thing that Andre mentioned, if you don't come to the microphone, you're not going to get recognized. Look, we live, as I said, in a new world. People are watching all over, from all over the world, and sorry, but you got to go to the microphone. Another thing to keep in to watch is meeting with Millie and Marianne. We're going to be actively transitioning to a paperless system, which will not only save trees, but will save, I think it's hard to imagine if you don't come to town hall regularly, how much of an understaffed clerk's office time is spent at copy machines when we already have the stuff in front of us on our computers. So we'll be doing that. I'm sure it won't be without hiccups, but we're going to do that. And if you have any ideas about how this ought to run better, don't hesitate. Everybody has my number. If you don't have it, ask me for it. Call, talk. We're here and we work for you. So anyway, public comment. Any public comment? No? No complaints yet? Let's see, motion would be in order to open the public hearing to discuss and act on proposed amendments to the Town of New Shoreham zoning ordinance, section 514, residential structures in the RA and RB zones, and section 111, general prohibitions, A5, small I, and 2 small i's, and section 406, residential structures meeting certain thresholds, B2.
I'll assume that was a motion. Yes, second.
All in favor, say aye. Opposed? No one? We're in the public hearing. Allison. Chen, do you want to come up too so we can pick your brain? Great.
Okay, good evening,
Hi,
everyone.
Allison.
Hi. So for a little background, these sections of the zoning ordinance regulate the size and massing of residential structures associated with single family use in the RA and RB zoning districts. They've been on the books for over a decade. It does get complex because there's several sections. So section 406 is the section that establishes the thresholds above which a development would require a special use permit. The other sections, 514 and 111, those are in reference to the levels that are prohibited. So those sections establish the absolute maximums for the size and massing of residential structures above which they wouldn't be allowed to be constructed. So about August of last year, the town council had adopted amendments to sections 111 and 514, those prohibited levels. And those amendments included reductions in the maximum individual building footprint and as well as the building volume. And what the town also did was establish a maximum living floor area as an additional metrics within that section. At the time of those amendments were adopted, the town council put in place a sunset clause, and that sunset clause is up next month. And so without action by the town council, those reductions would expire and it would revert back to the figures originally that were established in the ordinances. So the planning board has been evaluating the amendments, and in an effort to retain in large part those reduced maximums, they put forward the following maximums, amendments. So in summary, the planning board supports maintaining the maximum building volume at 65,000 cubic feet, so no changes there. There was also a consensus that the maximum building footprint of 5,000 square feet is too large, so they support maintaining the 3,500 square feet that was adopted last year, but did incorporate the exclusion of ground level decks and unenclosed porches from that calculation, which is consistent with section 406, which is the SUP threshold level, also excludes decks and porches from their building footprint calculation. The planning board is recommending increasing the maximum living floor area from what it currently is, 4,500 square feet, to 5,000 square feet. And also increasing the threshold in section 406, the SUP trigger, from what it currently is, 3,300 square feet today, to go up to 4,000 square feet before a property owner would need to apply for a special use permit for the size and massing of the structure. So those are the several changes, and that the planning board would like to see the town council support and enact before January.
Thank you very much, Allison. I'm sure people have questions. Before we get to those, I just, I'm one of the nerds who actually attends those planning meetings because I find it fascinating. It's the important stuff the community does, and we don't have you very often. So I just wanted to say thank you to you and to Jen and to Margie and the members of the planning board. It's a lot of work. It's, as we'll undoubtedly get to, a confusing document for a layman. And I just appreciate the time and the thoughtfulness of the way that you guys do your work. So thank you. Are there any questions?
Yeah, I guess the biggest one I have, and Allison, you and I spoke about it earlier today. I like the changes in macro. It seems to me, as I've gone through the ordinances, that there are times where the definitions don't always jive. There are little nuances and little adjustments that have been done over the years, and they're not quite synced up. So I guess as a follow-up, I would really like to, whether it's a professional or somebody who can just go through all of these and make sure A equals A and B equals B, because there's enough changes that I worry about somebody using that to their advantage. Because I think that needs to be done over the next 6 months, or, a short time period, just to make sure that literally definition of, X, is it inclusive of decks or not inclusive of decks? Is it about first level decks, floor level, there are just enough little things that I want to make sure it's all tied. Other than that, I like the cap on a max house. I like the cap that's been put about growing the living area. So I think it's really good change, and I thank the planning board.
Thank you, Sven. Neil, any questions?
Knowing anything of the terms was definitions. So if there's clear definitions, an unenclosed porch and ground level deck, is there interpretation? The planning board and zoning board know it, that I'm fine. But, to me, that it just seemed like language that I've read on different things online seem a little bit subjective at times. So just trying to tighten up wherever that is. So to your point, making sure everything is defined clearly, but it makes sense.
Yeah, some of the things that are in, we're on 111. Is that where we are right now? We're on this whole collection that I can't keep track of. Yeah, there were a couple of things that really jumped out, and one of them was unenclosed porches, which seems like isn't that just a porch? I'm not sure what the point of something like that is. And some things that have already been in there, there are a number of design items. This is, it's about the hip roofs, the shed dormers, the gambrel roofs, mansard. No change is being proposed, but man, that needs some work. And we've got two kinds of mansard roofs out here. And I'm not sure if that's anywhere addressed. Oh, that's among the old buildings, not anything new. There are, I think everybody has wanted a limit. What has been have we had a real world experience with this on the planning board so far, Margie?
Yes, we have for the last, this has been in place for the last year. And you're right.
Thank you.
I'm still getting used to the new way of doing things. Just keep yelling at me. I'll get it. Because this has been in place for a little over a year, so we have had several plans come before us where we've been able to use these numbers and they have worked. So yes, I'd say what we have here is a very good compromise between what people might want, because we will never please everybody. Some people would like it much stricter. Some people would like it a lot more looser. We've spent approximately 2 to 2.5 years doing a survey to find out what the public wants, to doing several drafts. A lot of give and take went back and forth, both in public comment and amongst the board. And I think the numbers that we've come up with are a fair representation that will pretty much work both for the homeowner who wants to build his dream home and all the neighbors who want to protect their view sheds, their resources such as water. So I think this will work.
But we're still lacking some sort of process whereby someone who's looking to build a newer, larger place who may not be familiar with the island vernacular, it feels like there's no real gateway, there's no threshold. People just show up with plans that they've already done.
Oh, no, they go through Jen Brady's office and talk to people there. Sometimes many conversations. Usually an architect has been in to talk to Jen. So yes, that's all part of the process.
So then why are we getting so surprised at some of the things that come through here?
Not
And-
everybody chooses to listen to what the advice is given.
But I guess the question, that's easy to say, but I know I've talked to people over the years who have said after, and this is somebody who's dead now, so I can say it, that his architect basically sold him a bill of goods, and if he had any idea how big the house was in comparison to everything else out here, because he wasn't going around measuring houses, he probably wouldn't have done it. And I just don't, it feels like, particularly with those years we had of everybody being on Zoom, of people not being here, we just have lost what little real connection we had. We keep talking about communicating, but we just talk about communicating, and I'm not sure how much of this.
Remember,
It's communicated.
what we're working with right now has only been in effect for about 1.5 years. So I'm finding that over this last 1.5 years, it has worked fine.
Okay, I think I'm talking a little more broadly.
Well, the other thing, we can certainly keep this in mind, and remember, this is a living document. If we find that something does not work, we can tweak it. We've been doing that on the planning board for years. That's why we have Allison with us on a full-time basis, because as community changes, products change, climate change, we will and will continue to have to update and bring our rules so that they are current.
Okay, and I may again be going completely off the rails here, but it feels increasingly that there's less and less of a real flow chart of what comes first. Water comes to mind immediately. Are we designing buildings that we don't have the water for, do we know we don't have the water for them? Well, you're saying we don't have the water for them, are, you know, I feel like we're all operating in silos. And, not asking you to solve that here tonight.
No, but we will keep in mind what you're saying. And we do, for example, when some of the downtown businesses have come to us, one of our first questions always is, have you been to the water company? Do you have a permit? And if you don't, you may not want to waste your time with us until you do have a water permit. So we do try to make sure that we reach the group. And as I say, Jen spends a lot of time working with the people behind the scenes before it ever gets to us or to zoning.
Yeah,
I'm done.
sure, Sven, go ahead.
Margie, correct me if I'm wrong, or Jen, or I know most people in the room will do that quickly. So it seems to me that over the last year, things are working. And I say that because I've seen, just walking through the building, a number of plans of many of the proposed complexes going up. And rather than a very large house, I mean, extremely large house going up, it's now within the boxes, within the framework, but then there's going to be a smaller house as a pool house, or a smaller house as a guest house. So you're getting a cluster of houses, I won't say large or small, but rather than that huge house, we're getting what I think everybody wanted, which was a little bit more of that community feel, a little bit more of the smaller, whether it's protecting view sheds or not. So it seems to me that at least from these ordinances, it worked. And now it seems that after, with the sunset clause coming, you've sort of said, okay, we bumped to this number, now let's move it up a little bit, or keep it, so that it really fits a little bit. And I think that sounds smart, and it seems to be in keeping with a strategic plan. And you know, I think the results of these documents speak for themselves, I guess. So I appreciate that. I think Martha's point is really good, which is how are we all coordinating? That's a bigger picture. But
That's another,
yeah, it's
another discussion for
Keith's
another
problem
day.
now, right, Andre?
Well,
That's the whole problem. That's always
Right.
down.
Yes, I
That's
understand.
always the
Right.
problem.
Well,
Somebody
And I,
else
that,
addressed.
if
It's
I sound
not-
like we're pushing a little bit, I am, because we do have a sunset clause on this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I am pushing you a little.
but it's not further down the road for me. I mean, as I said at a recent planning meeting, it's my hope to schedule a work session in January between the town council, the planning board, Jen, Allison.
We
et
were just
al.
talking about that before the meeting. We're
because
all for it.
You know, and it runs the gamut from what are the tools and levers in planning for affordable housing, all the way to what do we want the island to look like, or you know,
Well, they all
at the-
tie in
at
together.
the
You're
most
absolutely
macro
right.
level, but you know, Martha's point, I think, is a really good one, because it raises things like, is it all working together? Are we investing enough? Should we be, you know, I've gone back into building and seen Jen running around like crazy. Tom runs around like crazy. You know, it's a lot, particularly with the amount of construction that we've had over the last few years. And I want to have that broader conversation with planning and with
Good. We're looking
with our
forward to it.
staff to because you know, as a look, it's not like this is a revelation, but the market will act if we don't. So, you know, we have to have reasonable parameters and a reasonable sense of what we want the thing to be, and give very clear direction, which will make staff jobs a lot easier, and stick to them and enforce them. So that's my hope and intention in November. I agree with Sven and Neil about the definitional cleanup, but also with Martha on the more macro question. So
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So are there any comments from the public about this, Chris?
Chris Warfel. I would like to ask for the record, what are the setbacks, front setbacks, sides, and rear setbacks for this ordinance or these ordinances? Thank you.
Setbacks aren't within these sections of the zoning ordinance.
I mean, nothing's changing, is that correct?
No. There's no, it's just, you mean the front, side, and rear setbacks?
Right,
Those
but
are established in a different section of the zoning ordinance.
Right. Could you please refer those for the public for these kind of structures?
So I believe it's 50 feet. Jen Brady is there. I think it's 50 feet setback and RA, RB. Jen, do you know that off the top of your head? You deal with it more than I do.
Can you say that again, please? Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments for the public hearing? No? Just so that I'm clear, do I have to close the public hearing and then we vote? All right, I make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye. Opposed? No one? Okay,
Are we still supposed to be?
we're
doing roll
closing the
call?
public hearing.
Are we still supposed to be doing roll call?
No, roll call was
Zoom.
because of Zoom, so
Good.
I it just, all right, I would make a motion to approve the proposed amendments to the Town of New Shoreham zoning ordinance, section 514, residential structures in the RA and RB zones, and section 111, general prohibitions, A5, 1 and 2, and section 406, residential structures meeting certain thresholds, B2.
Second.
Any comments from the council on that?
And there is no sunset on this one.
Right, my understanding is that this eliminates the,
Well, I know this eliminates it,
Yeah.
but
No.
the answer is no. Okay.
all right,
I think the only thing, Keith, is that you talked about the meeting with planning and the town council in January. I would just like to hear what how planning is going to go about making sure that all the definitions are aligned, just to make sure that we don't get 6 months down the road.
sure.
Thank you.
All right, motion's on the table. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Opposed? No, passes unanimously. I'd like to make a motion to open the public hearing. Actually, no, we're going to, because the deadline's been extended on agenda item number 6. That will be scheduled again for a public hearing soon. It's my hope. What's that? It's my hope that we would do this, the work session we're talking about, the third week-ish of January, fourth week of January. Hopefully, I mean, not hopefully. One of the things we're going to discuss is this accessory dwelling unit and its use as a potential vehicle for affordable housing. And what, in addition to planning, what other policy initiatives we could undertake to try to make that happen. If you have not read the draft that Chris Warfel put together, and you are interested in this stuff and interested in affordable housing, read it. Because it is very comprehensive, very well thought out, and whether we all agree on it, it was an effort. You know, it is a real effort. So it's very much worth reading. It's actually a terrific, I think, kind of a primer on. You know, if you read the reg, read Chris's proposal, it makes you think about the use of these kind of accessory dwelling units as potential affordable housing, part of the affordable housing solution. So it's just a overly long-winded way of saying thank you, Chris, for putting that together. Now we have mobile food establishments, item number 7, Bethany. Continued from November 7th discuss and act on new application for a mobile food establishment permit for Bethany's Airport Diner. Is there a new application?
I was told I had just, sorry, Bethany Campbell Coviello.
Yes.
I was told that I had to put a business plan together.
Uh-huh.
And so I did, but I must apologize. It's 21 pages because I'm not the savviest when it comes to the whole computer
Okay.
thing. But
That's okay.
I don't know if I pass this out to you guys. I don't really know much about the whole deal. So anyway, here we go.
Thank you, Bethany.
Like I said, very rough. It's amateur. Like, should I leave one to Molly? If we guys all like? Okay, you're welcome. Thank you. All right.
I don't think I can get
It's
through
20
20.
pages. I
I don't
really
think-
apologize. And it's really kind of, if you want to ask me questions and, you know.
Why don't you
from
go
now
through
on,
your
it doesn't
plan?
matter.
Why don't
Pardon
you,
me?
just- why don't you, just- you don't have to read 21 pages, but tell us what you want to do.
Okay, my idea is it's going to be called Bethany's Keep on Truckin', Grab and Go. The reason I say keep on trucking is because you guys all know I lost a diner, so I'm like, let's keep on trucking. And I think to be my own boss and to still do what I like to do, I'm thinking, you know, since I own a truck, I have a lot of equipment, I have a lot of resources. What I'd like to do is I've my mother's property is commercial and also Hertzler's property is commercial. She offered me to put the truck in that spot and it offers a ton of variables. There's parking for, you know, quick grab and go. My idea is to cater to the walkers, the bikers, and just have really quick grab and go food. I'm thinking, again, I didn't know really where to start with this. I kind of went on the internet and got a little crazy and definitely did not preserve paper. Apologize on that because my idea with this food truck is to make it very eco-friendly. I want to do everything on sticks and I want to do everything in snack bags and make it, like I said, you know, I am curious about the whole garbage routine between Jan and I. We could put dumpsters out. Like I'm not really sure. I feel like I can easily, I want to present it to you guys first and the town to see if I, you know, am able to go ahead and get my licensing. My licensing, I'm pretty sure will follow me because I haven't canceled everything. Like I've kind of keeping my doors open to see if I get the okay to get the food truck up and running. It's a very small truck. My plan was to go to the community center and use their kitchen until I figure out, you know, what I'm going to do. And the prep is very minimal. I still have a Cisco account. I have a shed to keep all my dry storage in. I don't know what else. You guys ask me questions. I'm not, you know, this is all new to me.
So the first question I have before we open it up is, so we need to have something to act on, and I'm not sure what that looks like. So I'm just going to ask Millie what it is we need, or Mary Ann. Obviously, we want to be helpful, but I just, we have to have something to act on. Do you mind answering that, Millie?
I mean, I can answer it to the best of my ability.
Great.
Guess you're required to act on an application that would be in front of you. And what would be included in that application, there's a list of criteria on that application, and I don't have that in front of me at this time, but I can certainly go put my hands on it. You're looking for pictures, which you do have it here in front of you. And, as well as what her business plan is, but I don't have it in front of me. And essentially what we will need to issue that license is that permit, because we really are issuing a permit on top of a state license. So that state would be the state license, and pay the permit fee essentially.
So how does this usually work? Does a potential, someone has an idea for a food truck on Block Island. Is the first step to go to the state to get it licensed? And then we issue, I'm just asking because I don't know how this works.
This is, I think, might be a little bit of a chicken and egg
Yeah,
situation.
yeah.
Certainly, we can't issue the permit until the license has been granted by the
Okay.
state, which then does require fire marshal and other kinds.
Yeah,
of
I
force
didn't
there.
know
Right.
the chicken or the egg.
Yeah, although I think the reason that it's in front of you now is because you were down at the cap, the wire, the cap
Right,
wire.
yes.
And you, so you have to set,
Yes,
you have to
right.
set that cap. And so I think that's why it's in front of you now. Whether you feel like it's in a situation where it's prepared enough for you to, approve it and
Mhm.
raise the cap is up to you.
Any questions from?
If I can go back and, first of all, it has changed a lot, like we talked about last time. So what it was 3 years ago versus how it's done now is night and day with the state being involved. But one of the things that was always very important was a site plan. And I know you have pictures in here
Yeah.
saying the trucks over there.
I
here,
apologize.
chairs.
I
No,
really
you don't have
do.
to. But, and then 2 parking places, and I know that corner exceptionally well because I walk by it more than I'd like to. And I don't know how you fit all that in there. So I mean, physically, by the time you do legal parking spaces and you do, and how do those cars get up? Because I think that's all curb, except for the Manassas driveway, which means so I think then there's a couple of things that probably need to be done on a site plan basis, just to make sure it all fits.
Jan has talked to the Philippi boys and they are willing to work with her or us to, make it work because they've got the back, all that back
Sure.
parking.
Sure.
And Jan, I don't know what the zoning is or any of that stuff, but she does own the property as far as I'm told,
Sure.
past the hedges. So we were just thinking about 2 places there, but I am thinking that a lot of it in the summertime is going to be more walkers, bicycles, mopeds, and that sort, because we're pretty close to town. So again, this is really all foreign to me. So I'm just kind of presenting to you guys what my idea is. And I'm hoping that it complements the other food trucks as we go up the line because, I know Farmstead is right up the road. So I'm trying to do totally different if this is granted, so we don't have any animosity. And, Andre's further up the line, I'm gonna do minimal seafood, chowder and shrimp. Again, I'm just talking about the menu and whatnot. That's what I know, but you guys have the logistics on what I need to do. I thought that I had to get permission from you guys first and then go get my license. But if you want me to go get a license, which I've had licenses for 30 years, so I don't think they're gonna, I think I should be able to, adapt a license or, get a license.
It would seem we have to be open to extending the cap.
Oh, okay, so
Because
that's,
you can't do anything without us
Without-
saying we're open to changing the cap.
Okay.
So I don't know if that's a decision or a directional comment where we all go in. Bethany's had a business here for 30 years.
30
So
years,
I'm
yeah.
supportive of changing the cap to allow the business with the idea you're building out your plan. But, that's not an action, I don't think, of the town council. It would just be a directional. So I just don't want to see us waste your time running through all these circles.
Correct. And
We're
that's,
not we're not interested in changing.
and
the
that's how
path.
come I did this without, paying. I could have gone, $600 and did a business plan. I've been reading it all on the internet and whatnot. So I just came to present this to you guys, and now you just have to steer me in the right direction,
First of all, I agree with you, Neil.
or not.
Please don't take the fact that I was asking, the fact that I was asking about what the process is because I don't have any idea what the process is.
Yeah,
And I'm
we're all on
learning,
the same page then.
I'm learning along with you. But I sense from as I understand the agenda, we have to act on the application. And then that leads us to a conversation on the cap. So there are two things we need to do. So one of the questions I have is it possible that we could approve the application pending, subject to a site plan, sort of subject to all those things? It seems to me that might be if that's possible, that might be the approach. What's that?
I think the answer to that is yes. It's something that we certainly have done with
Oh, okay.
liquor license, et cetera.
Okay.
And Keith, Nick Solitro, Town Solicitor, yes, you can do that.
Thank you, Nick.
The only, I
Who's
guess,
that? Somebody over there?
yeah, the only risk, if that's the term for it, and anybody can chime in on this, the only risk that one has, a little bit to Neil's comment, is if we increase the cap by one, John, or I shouldn't pick any names that are in here, Fred from, Fredericksburg, Rhode Island can come in and fill that cap, and he can do that tomorrow. Sort of unbeknownst to us. It's just a matter of who gets into the state, how do they get their license, the timing, and you're out. Because we don't have the room in the cap. I mean, that's the only risk, or not the only, it is a risk. I understand.
Don't we have location? Don't we have locations?
Yes. But we do have more locations than trucks. Currently.
But if the locations are limited to the trucks we have and to the proposed site, doesn't that take care of the issue that you can?
I'm just saying,
I
it's the
don't
only
know.
risk that I see. I mean, I'm not sure Fred's gonna be, no Fred's in here. I'm not sure Fred's gonna be there. So but that is the only conceptual risk. And then you have to get your license by the state, which is a lot more arduous than it used to be. I mean,
Okay.
they definitely started clamping down on both fire and safety and. all
I
that.
haven't really gone into that
Yeah.
on detail
Yeah.
at all. Like, I haven't. I was thinking that I needed town permission, and then I attacked the next,
Step.
yeah. So,
Now, can I, and I think I can bring this up. One of the things that we haven't spent a lot of time on over the years has been sort of strategically thinking about where trucks are or where locations are. I mean, at one point, Charlene's land or house was a location because of storage. The
Excuse me,
parking.
There was a winter location.
That's right, winter location. The interstate lot for with the Christmas stroll. So I mean, there were sort of strategic points along the way, and we had a lot of debate and discussion when the food truck went in near Mosquito Beach, between that and the state beach. And if everybody remembers, there was a lot of discussion between, do you really want two food establishments that close in that way? And the town decided, yes, we do. And I think everything's worked out fine. So I guess that would be the only other question is just, is there any strategy to where food trucks are? I mean, right now they're spread out pretty much all over the island, which is great. And here it's going to be down in the commercial area, which is where all the people are. So, a vast majority of people.
So my preference would be to approve this license application with condition around the producing a site plan, which includes a parking plan, and any other conditions that you think make sense. I'm just sort of riffing here.
I would suggest include in that motion, the criteria that's on the application, which should cover everything and the state requirements.
So I would be making a motion to approve this application pending receipt of a site plan consistent with the application that is on file in the clerk's office. The receipt of a state license to operate. Any others?
I'd love to hear more about timing. I mean, I know it says 5 days a week, 7 days a week, but is that all year, seasonal? So I guess as it gets to the business plan, it's just more about that. You don't have to answer it now, but I'm just
Okay.
saying more about operations, timing, that kind of, yeah. Yeah, it says it in there, but I want to detail that.
So I would add to that motion, Sven, correct me if I don't quite capture this. So what?
Seasonality.
The defined days of operation.
It is. but
Yeah.
Let's get it on the application.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
What I just
Absolutely.
said?
And I guess I have to figure out too, is if my truck has to be winterized. I mean, I'm willing to,
Yep.
I guess I have to look at the application myself
Yep.
Yeah, there,
and see what it asks of the business or of the application, I guess.
is that a motion?
I'm gonna do a more formal motion just because we were venturing our so I would make a motion to approve license for Bethany's Keep on Truck and Grab and Go. Pending the receipt of a site plan for the location contained in the application currently before the town clerk, the hours and days of operation, and a state license.
Site plan.
Where does that fall into? So we're making a motion to approve it, yet there's only a set number.
And the next item on the agenda is to set the cap. Yep.
Can you just adjust to say that the site plan is approved by either building, so a site
Yes.
plan comes that has too small a parking, I don't mean this the wrong way. You know,
It's
if
okay.
all wrong, who's
I
got to
know.
approve it? Or-
In my notes, I had an opinion on traffic, so I get
Yeah,
it.
yeah, I mean,
exactly
I'm
where
thinking
you're coming
about cars backing out, how do
Yeah.
they back out into traffic,
Seriously, what do we require of everybody? And we can't put more restrictions on one than on another.
But I just think everybody does, okay, that's fine. I mean, I would say it's either the chief of police or building inspector.
So,
As noted,
Okay.
follow up with that.
Any further comment? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Right?
Opposed? None? Pass unanimously.
thank you.
Get out of here.
Now you got your work.
Thank you.
Right then. Now we are on item number 8, discuss and act on setting the cap for 2023 mobile food establishment permits.
I make a motion to set the cap at 6, which includes Andiam Mazik, Block Island Gourmet, Farmstead Refreshments, Painkiller Donuts, Southeast Light Delights, and Bethany's Keep on Trucking.
The only question I have, Sven, is I don't think Payne's Donuts is before us because they're off cycle.
It's in the cap.
Oh, it's in the cap.
It's in the
Their
cap.
License is off cycle. Gotcha, sorry.
So I
Sven.
think it's in the.
I
cap.
apologize.
Okay, no. Andiamo, Sean, Block Island Gourmet, Farmstead, Haynes, Killer Donuts, Southeast Light Delights, and Bethany. That's 6. We're coming to Gassers later, which is 100. This
This
is
is-
cap on numbers. This is cap on numbers.
Locations is agenda item 9. Is there a second to Sven's motion?
Second,
Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
aye.
Opposed, none. Unanimous. Item 9, discuss an act to set locations for 2023 mobile food establishments and hawkers and peddlers. I just have a question about this one because someone reached out to me and asked about Ball O'Brien. And, you know, for example, if a community group were doing a thing at Ball O'Brien and wanted to bring in a food truck, can they come to us and ask? You know, do we have to establish that as a potential location? Or could somebody, if Kim Gaffett is doing a nature conservancy event at Ball O'Brien, could they make a deal with Andre to come to Ball O'Brien or Bethany or Kelly to come to Ball O'Brien and serve food in the parking lot? Sell food.
We're on Hawkers and Peddlers, right?
No.
I thought we didn't.
No, number 9 is to discuss an act to set locations for 2023 mobile food establishments and hawkers and peddlers.
Sorry.
What's that?
There's got to be a better
guess
way
we
of doing
bring it
this.
back.
Let's look into that because we weren't prepared for that question, so.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
They
No, no,
came up
that's
with,
right.
with
That-
catering before, I think.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
We had that years ago and it was catering was the answer.
Yeah.
And because the interstate was multiple days and the food truck was staying there, Andre, you may be able to refresh it. Because it was 3 days long, that's why they went for that as a location.
And I know
I mean, I believe. You can correct me.
with last year's holiday stroll, we did have a couple of folks approach us about doing something.
Yeah.
And it was like a, you want to call it a truck or a cart. And we talked about a catering permit for the day. So I think what we need to do is really look into that and get back to
Okay,
you. I don't want
that's
to
great.
mention it. Yeah.
I didn't mean
at
to
this point.
slow the gears, but I thought it was a worthwhile question and might be an opportunity for people who own food trucks. All right, I'll make a motion to set the locations as provided to us in the applications and in our packet for the 2023 mobile food establishments and hawkers and peddlers licenses.
Are you adding
Plat
plat
7.
Oh, thank you.
32?
Yes.
I'm
32.
adding plat 7,
32.
lot
32.
I'm not confident that 32, I think
Yeah,
32
32 is wrong.
Is Pat, is your,
That's what I meant. That, you mean, that's your house. That's not, Jan's.
yeah, that's not, it's not provided here, I don't. Oh, what do you wonder? The
What
plat and lot
Jan's
of-
plat
Oh,
lot is.
I didn't have it on the note here.
Took me too long to find it. Who can pull up the plat map fastest? It's not who drill on it. Almost brought my
Just
paper
gonna
mouse.
take a few minutes here. Sorry, everybody.
Who's, Bethany, who's the owner?
Jan Hertzler.
30.
So I would make that motion.
Yeah. that's fine. Have a quick. You don't want me to take it. I know my limitations.
Flat 7 lot 30.
Yeah, town.
Oh, you found it.
Yeah.
Tom got along. so that's
Yeah,
correct.
I would add plat 7, lot 30.
They want-
Second.
I said, no, we're not voting. Tell them, like-
All right, motions been made and seconded. Any comments from anybody at the table? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No, unanimous. Now, Sven, we're moving on to number 10. And I know that you were, we did it. Well, before you recuse, if there isn't any reason, we're on number 10, receive and act on mobile food establishment permit renewal applications for 2023. It's 4 renewals: Andiamo, the Aldo's Bakery Boat, Sea to Light, Sea Life Services, Block Island Gourmet. Sven needs to recuse on C. Are there any issues with A, B, and D? Because I assume because it's a renewal, we can. I'd be. Well, I would make a motion to act on mobile food establishment permit renewal application for Andiamo Zeke doing business as Aldo's Bakery, See the Light LLC doing business as Southeast Light Delights, and Block Island Gourmet LLC doing business as Block Island Gourmet Food Truck. What's that? I think I said it. We're not doing Farmstead because Sven needs to. Yeah, right.
Do this. and get-
Yep.
Second.
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No, unanimous. Sven? Now before us is Sea Life Service. I make a motion to act on a mobile food establishment permit renewal for Sea Life Services, Inc., doing business as Farmstead Refreshments. Second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed? None opposed, unanimous. Sven? Item 12, discuss and act on renewal of motorized tricycle, bicycle, and scooter. We're going to continue this to the 21st.
Yes.
Um,
Oh. No. I think that you missed number 11.
11 on the bottom of the page.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Well, Pam Gassman's been hanging out and Julia's been hanging out for a long time. So.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Item 11, receive and act on hawkers and
Thanks, John.
Item 11, receive and act on hawkers and peddlers license renewal application for 2023. I believe the only one we have is the Gasners. I would make a motion to act on that, to renew that license for 2023. This is the sort of prepared foods and other stuff out at the North Light parking lot.
Like bottled water and.
Yeah.
It's a great.
It's really sweet.
Yeah, so the one thing I was looking at something is since that's town property, do we require, are there all sorts of requirements on insurance, ensuring all that's in place? Yeah.
Yes. It's a good question.
Very
An
good.
important question. Is there a second for that motion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Say no. Unanimous. As I said, item number 12 is going to be continued until 12/21. Receive and act on request of Kathleen and Peter Saxon to switch burial lots.
Keith, can I ask you to just make a motion to continue?
Oh, sure. Yeah,
for the
yeah.
mopeds. The mopeds are, they, by ordinance.
Right,
you
right,
do
right.
address
Sorry.
it.
Thank you, Millie.
Thank you.
Yes. I would make a motion to continue item number 12 regarding the acting on renewals of moped licenses until December 21st.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. It's unanimous. 13, receive and act on request of Kathleen and Peter Saxon to switch burial lots. Now, my understanding here is that the Saxons would like to switch from, they purchased a cremation lot.
Thanks,
And now
Andre.
they want to switch to burial lots. And because the town is the only, they basically have to sell back their cremation lots to the town. And then do we have to approve? Or just, what do we have to approve?
Right, you're gonna be, I guess, authorizing the sale of the property back to the town.
I'd like to authorize the sale of the
Cremation.
Kathleen and Peter Saxon cremation lots back to the town. Is there a second?
Second.
For discussion, Neil, I just learned this the other day, so I'm the world's foremost expert. The way the town cemetery works is you purchase a lot, whether it's a cremation or a burial lot. And essentially the deed or the agreement says what you own is not liquid. You have to, if you decide not to use it, you're required to sell it back to the town. So there was no provision for changing the type of plot that you had originally purchased. So basically, they have to sell back their cremation lots and then go through the process to buy burial lots. Just information you'll probably never use again, but important that you have. All those in favor? Opposed? None opposed?
Yeah, and you cannot use that at Halloween.
Okay, but Millie, they're going from cremation to the full lot, is that right?
Yeah, they're going to sell their cremation lot back to us, and then they're going to purchase a.
And the price is
full-
different as well.
They're going to receive a rebate or, a price of the cremation lot that they paid for it at the time. And then we sell them at the burial lot at the current going rate.
Okay, great. Thank you.
All right, next we have item 14, discuss and act to award bid to Liberty Chevrolet for a police vehicle for a total of $56,896.16. Mary Ann?
So this was budgeted in the current year's budget. It's for a police vehicle. The current vehicle is replacing a 2008 vehicle. It has over 100,000 miles, and like all vehicles that are this old that the town has, we anticipated not passing inspection. One of the major things we've seen on the island with any kind of vehicle, it's not so much the mileage and or the age of the vehicle. It's the wear and tear that the weather conditions have on it with the rust and things of that nature. We would like to award this bid to Liberty Chevrolet. They are on the MPA. The MPA, as most of you know, is the master price agreement. So we are not obligated to go out to bid because the state is going around to bid on behalf of municipalities in the state. So I would recommend that the council approve this bid as presented.
Are there any questions?
We probably would try to surplus property on that, but I don't think we'll get anything. But that's what we usually do. We do try to surplus property.
I just had one question as I was reading through the documents, Mary Ann, if you don't mind. So we make 3 payments.
That is correct.
And the total payments were like about $60,000.
I think that's correct, yes.
So who holds the paper on that? To whom are we paying that?
It would be to the financing, agency.
Interesting. Is that the,
So if it's budgeted, why would not just buy it out?
The amount budgeted, what the town has done, which we're hoping to get away from eventually, has been in a lease purchase situation, that they lease vehicles for 3 years. Hopefully, at some point in time, we'll be able to increase the budget enough so that we can get into the point of buying the vehicles. But all our vehicles that we have, when we do a 3-year lease purchase, we do hold on to an extent beyond the 3 years.
so I don't want to be an obstacle on this one, but I think we should note it for the budget conversation because it doesn't make, I mean, it doesn't make much sense for a vehicle like this, I wouldn't think, to over 3 years spend $4,000 in interest.
It's something Amy and I have talked about, and we've talked about moving into a cycle. One of the things that we are working on is coming up with the master list of vehicles and placing when they need to be replaced. So on a spreadsheet, so we know what we have. That is not currently completely in place, but it's something that we're working on.
The other thing is there anything on the, is there anything on the state purchasing contract or the master contract or whatever that is moving toward electric vehicles? Because
I
we
would have
seem
to double
be
check
a
on that. I
perfect
don't know.
place for that. And, you know, at some point, we have to lead on this stuff. You know, frankly, I'd be willing to spend more for an electric Chevrolet for the police department because that's where we're headed. So I guess I would just, as we add vehicles, I think that needs to be, you know, if not the primary, a primary consideration because, you know, these things we do use them for a long time. And frankly, the scenario in 4 years when this vehicle is paid for is going to be quite different. So that's just a editorial side comment from me, but thank you. I can't remember whether I would make a motion to award the bid to Liberty Chevrolet for a police vehicle for the total of $56,896.16.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Opposed? None. Item 15, discuss and act on.
I'm sorry, in the future, if you think we should discuss all electric vehicles, I mean, it could be a discussion. I don't know that fire can fall within that, but
Right.
you know, it's, I mean, for town vehicles or trucks, I mean, I don't think it's a good idea yet, but I think it could be, yeah, I'm thinking about torque and four-wheel drive and
Yeah,
all that
it'll be interesting to see
and
how,
it costs.
yeah, be interesting to see. I mean, I know it's crazy expensive, but Tom, I mean, you know, there's an electric bucket truck coming for the
Right.
power company, you know? It's going to be more and more
Yeah. so I'm just saying we could-
mainstream
we could
and,
think about it as a.
yeah, absolutely.
Why don't we have staff explore that in
Yeah.
the next 6?
Yeah.
That's
next
great.
January,
Yeah.
February,
Yeah. Item 15, discuss and act on soliciting for land use attorney services. Mary Ann, do you want to tackle this one?
Sure, I'll start it off. As everyone knows, Bill Landry has been the town's land use attorney for a number of years. About 6 or 7 months ago, Bill did, and when I was having a conversation with him, said he was looking to possibly retire relatively soon and cut back on some of the work that he has been doing with the town. At that point, I did say to Bill, we were in the transition of the new solicitors that we now have on board, and that we can have that discussion down the road sometime. And Bill was nice enough to agree to that. And I think at this point, with these council looking to appoint solicitors in the next council meeting, is that the next council meeting, Millie? That those appointments are being made. I spoke to Bill about that, and he's all right with us going forward with the solicitation, or again, RFQs for land use attorneys, and he's agreed to stay on until we have a land use replacement in place. So what we're looking for this evening is the council, since this is a town council appointment, the authorization to get that RFQ put together and get it on the street. As you all know, Bill Landry is one of the renowned known land use attorneys in the state of Rhode Island and also throughout the country. And I think he's done a phenomenal job of serving the island. And my first introduction to Bill many years ago in another life, and his reputation was just as strong back then. So I do appreciate everything Bill has done for the town and working with staff. And I think this authorization for solicitation is timely.
Great. I would just add that I served on zoning when Bill was Bill was the lawyer, and he and Jen Brady were incredibly kind to me and great teachers. Martha has said a number of times that if you want to serve in town government, serve on planning or zoning, or serve on zoning. And I think it is, but it only works if you have a good tutor. Between Bill and Jen, he's a wonderful guy. I think. The only thing that I would add is, and I'm sure you're already doing this, Marianne, or contemplating this. I want to make sure that we get someone who is compatible in terms of skill and personality with the many people who will have to deal with them. I mean, it's someone who gets used by planning, by zoning, by probably HDC, right?
No,
Not really by
There's a
HDC.
structural issue there.
By building official, by us. It's a significant part of that job is being responsive and interacting positively with both staff and volunteers. So that compatibility, I think, is really important.
And I'd like to just say that I was on the zoning board in the 80s when Bill Landy was on the other side. And I'm glad he was on our team the last few years.
I would make a motion to authorize the town manager to begin soliciting for land use attorney services. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Any opposed? No? Okay. Unanimous. Set 2023 Town Council meeting schedule. Who's that, Millie or?
I'll run with it. Attached, included in your packet is the schedule for the meeting schedule for the 2023. All councils are required to adopt this schedule. It gets posted. It gets posted on the Secretary of State's website. Clearly, something may come up, so you may need to change your meeting. That you're more than able to do that. What I'd like to point out and note to the council is the work sessions, which are usually held on the first Wednesday. During the winter months, we do switch that to 4 o'clock as noted. So you got January, February, March is at 4 o'clock. And then once we get into the spring, that moves to 7 p.m. I'm sorry.
Good God,
And
Mary, yeah.
council meets on the first Monday and also on the third Wednesday. As you notice in the first one, January 2nd is a Tuesday. That's because of the holiday. So Millie has taken account into holidays when she put this list together.
I just have one question. The work session in November, the time doesn't change until November 5th next year.
November 5th.
Yeah, and the work session that we have is the 1st of November. No, it's not.
So you want us to change that to 7 o'clock? is what I'm
I'd
hearing?
rather have it because the sun doesn't set, the sun will be setting at 5 something. Oh, I looked that up. My mother always said, it's not important what you know, it's so you know how to find it. So there.
Martha, I'm sorry, you wanted to, you wanted to change the November 1 to 7?
Yeah.
My comment on the calendar is this is as good a time as any. I will be away for the first 2 weeks of January. Right.
You're both away?
Yes, we'll both be away for the 3rd and the 4th. That would be good for you. It would not be good for me. But you know, that's, I'm not.
I would say keep the schedule as it
Yeah.
is,
Yeah.
And if we have to move meetings to the forums, then.
Great.
I just-
Yeah.
Terrific. That's great.
Moving it,
I just want, you know, I've obviously talked to everybody, I think, about this, but publicly want to say that,
you'll both bring back presents.
yes, absolutely. You will get a jar of Vegemite from
Oh,
from
dear
Melbourne.
God in heaven. I'm not, do we really want to have meetings with 3 people?
I would suggest that the council vote on what's before you and then have that conversation.
Okay. I would make a motion to approve the meeting schedule put forward by the town manager and town clerk for 2023, excuse me.
We changing November,
Yes,
we do.
changing.
November
the-
1st.
The
work
meeting on
session.
November 1st from 4 PM to 7 PM. Any discussion?
I would like to really make sure that we made a good step the last few meetings where work sessions are actually work sessions.
Yeah.
But there were years where we went through work sessions that were actually just another meeting, and I didn't think that block.
Yeah.
And we got a lot better about it, but I just think there's enough topics that we need to be talked about at work and dialogue. So it's highly important.
So what we'll do is Millie and I will work, we'll put like we've done previous week, which led us to the discussion you're having now. We'll put this spreadsheet together and we'll start dropping things in. We'll circulate it to the council and see if they have other items they want and when they want to do.
Terrific, thank you. All those in favor please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Now, at some point, we are going to have to talk about whether you want to have meetings on Tuesday, January 3rd and Wednesday, January 4th with 3 members. I'm back on the 16th. I get so messed up on whether I gain a day or lose a day coming back from there. Okay, all right. Okay. Well, that's very optimistic. Yeah, that's right. Will you step up to the microphone and say, goodness. All right. Discuss and act on board, commission, and committees. I am going to be gone through the 16th.
We won't see him until Wednesday, the 18th.
Aren't you going away? Jamie?
So why don't we take this offline and the town clerk will,
Okay, great. Thank you. All right.
as we said, we'll take this offline. We will see.
Pressing forward. Next on the agenda.
I'm coming back on the 4th.
really need to probably be looking.
Right, we need to be looking at a calendar. Now that you're aware of everybody's individual limitations, thank you. We're going to appoint members to the, new member to the Historic District Commission and potentially the Police Advisory Commission.
Yes, and
Why don't we wrap this in?
I know, we have one vacancy. Anyway, why don't we go through this and we can talk about when we want to do it. 17A is appoint members to Police Advisory Commission and Historic District Commission. We do at this point have a candidate for each.
So I went to the, I think most recent Police Advisory Commission meeting about a month ago. And during that meeting, it was very lively discussion. We'll say that. And it was agreed or just desired by the Police Advisory Commission to meet with the town council to talk a little bit about roles, plans, what's our structure, how are we interfacing? And they wanted to actually wait until the new council had a month or two under their belt. So that meeting, I believe, could be a work session in January or February. My hope would be that we don't appoint anybody till then, until we can sort of figure out roles and opinions, which I think it's desired, I know is desired by the Police Advisory Commission. And I am definitely in that camp too. So I would just as well pass for a little bit or hold that request until that meeting has happened and the number of people on that committee is
Great. That's
refined.
Yep, fine. Thank you. Let's schedule that for
February or
February.
whenever. Mo
Yeah.
can do it. It's a good work session.
Yeah, it'll be worthwhile to distribute copies of the charter at that meeting too.
Yeah, and also I think we want to make sure that the chief has had enough time to actually sit in a seat and
Yes,
figure it out.
that's a good point.
So
Would you prefer, Martha, to wait to make the Historic District Commission appointment until our
We do not have a meeting in December. So the 15th is, if we're doing appointments on the 15th, I just think it'll be cleaner.
okay. I mean,
or the 21st.
21st. I have no idea where I came up with the 15th.
on December 21st.
I guess I'll look that up.
So just to make it clean, do I need to make a motion to continue that or will that merely appear?
You can honestly just take no action on that
Okay.
tonight, and that's fine.
All right, we'll take no action. There are still 3 vacancies on the Deer Task Force, which, this has appeared on our agenda literally for months. Yes, right. Well, it does beg the question whether this is the right structure for, it's kind of, we all like to talk about the deer, but apparently nobody really wants to serve. So not a today issue, but at some point we have to talk about what the right mechanism is for our community's conversation around deer. We have also 1 vacancy on the Commission on Motor Vehicles for Hire. Is this a licensed person? What's that?
Oh, we're talking about the
is it-
motor vehicles for hire.
Yeah, what slot is this one again?
Okay, this is for a person who does not hold a taxi chauffeur license or a taxi license or a chauffeur's license.
Gotcha. Please. Yeah, it's an agenda item that's about, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes. All right, agenda item 18 under correspondence, we have a letter from Blish and Kavanaugh regarding a notice of development of plan review, public hearing for Flowering Spade LLC, Plat 2, Lot 32-2. So we take that under advisement? And-
We're just being notified as a butters, yes.
Pardon me?
We are being notified as
Yeah,
an
I know,
abutter.
yeah. Excellent. All right. It's the old Rowan problem, yeah. Motion to adjourn? All those in favor? Indicate by saying aye. Opposed? We are adjourned.
But we are. It's gonna just go, but we are. Whatever, thanks.
Jump right in.